there really is no such thing as a technology industry anymore. Instead, what we need to be thinking about is that every major industry will have at least one or two dominant technology-driven players in that industry. You shouldn't just be thinking about these as like some big cohort of tech companies, but what are the big industries and who are the tech players in those industries that are bringing new tech-driven business models to those industries?
Big tech is worth $5 trillion. Now, Alphabet has joined the $1 trillion club, the 4 comma club. The 5 most valuable US tech companies now account for over 17% of the S&P 500 in terms of value. We had predicted that, platforms, there's only about 21 platform companies in the S&P 500. And this was maybe 4 or 5 months ago on the show, we were highlighting that between 15 to 20% of all the earnings of the S&P 500 were derived from the earnings of these 21 platform companies, which also is pretty impactful. I think that you're just going to continue to see this trend. We've made some other predictions about just the continuing role and dominance of platform companies, accounting for more and more of the value or earnings potential of just the S&P 500, of the stock market in general, of just industry in general. And so my response to this article was that there really is no such thing as a technology industry anymore, right? The technology sector, it really shouldn't be regarded as a technology sector. Instead, what we need to be thinking about is that every major industry, if they don't have it already, they will over the next, say, 10 years, certainly 10 to 15 years at the maximum, will have at least one or two dominant technology-driven players in that industry. Just like in the media industry, right? Netflix is a movie studio. We've talked about this before. They are basically a movie studio enabled by technology-driven distribution that's trying to command technology multiples, like WeWork was trying to command technology platform multiples when they're really just a real estate company. I don't think the fall is as drastic for Netflix. But again, I think you start to see the multiples go closer down to movie studio as opposed to platform company. Platform company multiples, and being a platform company in a respective industry. I mean, when you look at Alphabet and Google, why they've been able to join the 4 comma club, for example, you got at least $100 billion locked up in Waymo. Oh, Waymo has nothing to do with search. Waymo is a technology, soon-to-be platform company in the automotive industry with this thing called Android Automotive. We've spoken about it many times. Android Automotive, by the way, is in GM, in Volvo, in some Fiat Chrysler cars. Android Automotive will be able to monetize $1 trillion worth of services pre-autonomy that are going through the car in the United States every year. That's a $100+ billion company, just in automotive, tech company in automotive. Okay. YouTube in the media industry, at least a $200 billion company in the media industry, platform company. They're doing at least $20 billion in revenue, which means you're going to prescribe at least a 10x revenue multiple to YouTube. I think they're profitable, but Google doesn't break any of those numbers out. And so when you start to understand why, well, okay, yes, they own search, which was and is a technology kind of business in and of itself, right? Like search and the internet, that's a new industry that was created by the internet. Okay, fine, give them that. That you could say is a kind of a pure play tech part of their business. But just between those two business units, YouTube and Waymo, you got at least a third of the business is coming from the media industry and the automotive industry, traditional industries with dominant technology platform business models in those spaces. So that's really the thing that I think we need to start thinking about is every industry is going to have at least one or two dominant platform companies. Maybe not everyone a platform, but I would say the large majority of industries will be able to have a dominant platform in their space. And every large industry will have at least one big tech company in it. And you shouldn't just be thinking about these as like some big cohort of tech companies, but what are the big industries and who are the tech players in those industries that are bringing new tech-driven business models to those industries. That's the big opportunity over the next 10 to 20 years. Traditional industries and tech companies, how do they come together? Hi, this is Alex from Winner Take All. Thanks for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the content. Feel free to leave a comment, ask us questions, and definitely make sure to join us on our next live stream.